Hello everyone, my name is Jack. I've always loved the snow and the challenge of winter survival. But today is different. On my way to a camping spot, a sudden blizzard struck. Luckily, I found a clearing in the middle of a dense pine forest buried under thick layers of snow. I dropped my heavy backpack onto the snow, leveled the ground, and pulled out the tent and tools I had packed to set up my shelter. The wind grew stronger, blowing snow into every corner, making it extremely difficult to set up the tent. My hands were numb, every movement stiff. But with determination, I forced myself to hold each pole in place against the storm. Little by little, after a long struggle, the shape of a small tent began to appear. At last, when the final rope was anchored deep into the snow, I exhaled with relief. Before me stood not just a flimsy tarp, but a sturdy shelter. It was more than a tent, it was a lifeline that could help me survive this blizzard. Outside, the wind started to ease for a moment. I opened my backpack and took out a small folding stove that had been with me for many years. It looked old and worn, but in moments like this, it was priceless. In such harsh conditions, fire means life. Yet the storm wasn't finished with me. The wind roared again, sweeping snow in thick waves across the forest. I knew I had to find dry wood for the fire. I ventured out and after digging through deep snow, found a fallen tree lying across the path. It was buried completely. I shoveled and scraped until the trunk was exposed, then cut it into smaller pieces and carried them back to the tent through the biting cold. Back at camp, I split some of the wood into smaller sticks so it would catch fire more easily, leaving the rest for later. Though the logs were damp from snow, I knew patience and heat would dry them out. My little stove was small, but at that moment, it was the only hope to bring warmth into the tent. Outside, the snow kept falling, piling higher and higher around the tent until it formed natural walls circling me. Inside, I could feel the weight of nature pressing down. The cold, the wind, and the endless snow seemed determined to swallow everything alive. Then finally a flame sparked to life. A small, flickering flame, fragile but vital, the fire of survival. Inside the cramped tent, the orange glow spread warmth through the air. I made myself a cup of hot tea and prepared a simple but precious dinner to warm my frozen body and restore my strength. I sipped the hot tea, feeling the heat spread through my chest. A bite of roasted meat and steaming noodles made me forget the storm raging outside. The wind howled, the snow swirled, but here in my little shelter I had fire and food. Nature could rage, but I had found a way to endure. When night fell, I curled up in my sleeping bag, lying on an air mat. Outside, the blizzard screamed in the darkness, but inside I had warmth, I had food, and I had shelter. I closed my eyes, letting sleep slowly carry me away in the fragile safety I had built. The next morning, I woke to a clear sky. The storm had passed, leaving behind a world of shining snow under the sun. I ate a simple breakfast of bread, pâté, and a hot cup of tea. With fresh energy, I packed up my gear, ready to continue my journey and face new survival challenges. Looking back at the night I had endured, I realized the blizzard was not just an obstacle, but a valuable lesson. It taught me that in the harshest conditions, a small tent, a single fire, and faith in myself are enough to survive. A blizzard may bury the land in ice, but it cannot freeze the will of a determined human being.